I'm making a motion to
Recording in progress.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the September 9th minutes as presented.
second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Surveyor report.
First up, we have payment to contractors. In front of you is the list. Quite a few this month, so if anybody has any questions in regards to payment to contractors, I will try to answer your question.
There was one I wanted to ask you about, now I can't find it. Where'd you find that at, Randy?
Oh, it's in there.
Oh, I got
Right
it.
there it is. Yeah.
Retention ditch cleaning. Where was that at? Well, it's on Judy Creek, but
$17,800.
for retention pond.
That was the one off of Douglas that was all handwork. There was a tree down, it was a tremendous amount of handwork that Pemberton had to go through. John had to get approval from a couple property owners to get through there, because there was no real good access, you know? So that's why it was cost so much, because it was basically all handwork.
I'll make a motion to approve the payment to contractors as been presented.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to accept Exhibit A, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Change of assessments.
In front of you is a change of assessments. This is for year 24, pay 25, I believe, correct? D. We're just ahead of the game here a little bit, but this is all we'll have for 24, pay 25. 'Cause we're basically working on 25, pay 26 also. So this will probably be the end of change of assessments for this year, for 25.
I'll make a motion to approve the change of assessments as presented.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Next up is number 4, drain accounts to put on hold or take off hold. Over the last couple of months, along with Marcel and Dee and I and Savannah, we've taken a hard look at the ditch assessments in regards to the funds. You know, the drainage report that you get every month. John has been, there's been a few accounts that he's been kind of exceeded his amount, and some that's been on hold for quite a long time that needs to be taken off hold. So in front of you is the list that we're proposing to take off a hold. And then on the backside is 4 of them that we need to put on hold because there's money in there. We feel that in taking these off hold, we don't have to go back to the residents and increase their drainage assessments, if I'm correct.
Correct,
So-
that is correct.
We'd like to try this instead, which we think that this will work out over the next couple of years, taking these off hold instead of going back to the residents and hold public hearings to raise their assessment. So we want to do this instead. So I'm asking the board's approval to do that.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept this, take off hold, put on hold drainage assessments as presented here.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Next up, number 5, we have change order number 1 for the Nesbajani ditch, and I believe Mr. Huss is going to speak on that.
Jared Huss, Lawson Fisher Associates, 525 West Washington Ave, South Bend, Indiana, 46601. What you have in front of you is a change order for approximately $142,000 for the Nesbojani Ditch project. Two things that really accounts for. First, because of the permits, obviously, we're working through those permits. That restricts our ability to work within certain areas close to the existing ditch. And so through a discussion with the contractor, recognized some value in extending the riprap limits while we were still in the permitting process to accommodate future changeover of the upstream and downstream ditch areas. What that does is reduce the potential of erosion when we do that in the future, so it allows a hard armament to manage it. And the reason we decided to do that now is because we're going through the permit process. There's no better time to do that while we're still waiting or working through the permit process with that Army Corps and IDEM. So those changes were submitted to them as part of the permit revision while they were still being considered. So that's change one. Change number two, also done to both coordinate the Fillmore Road project and the activity within the ditch related to stormwater, but it also allowed us then to also address that with the permitting agencies. So one of the reasons that was important is as we complete the ditch work, we recognize that we want to reduce the amount of disturbance around the ditch. So for instance, there will be future discharges from Fillmore Road, the proposed Fillmore Road, into the Nesbojani ditch, as all legal drains have. And so we wanted to reduce that disturbance and had that discussion with Army Corps to make sure that that was coordinated and they understood, so there wasn't any disagreement or misunderstanding as we went through with those projects. So that work included an additional structure to receive future water, grading in and around the discharge points at Fillmore Road structure, some additional riprap in those discharge areas, and like I said, some additional riprap to accommodate those drainage points. So that was all done in accordance to try to coordinate the two projects. So C&E will be executing that work that was designed for the Fillmore Road project. Those are the two primary pieces that this covers.
Any questions for Any questions for Jared?
For Jared, but maybe none of this money comes from any drainage board fund, is that correct?
That is correct. It still goes.
Bobby, so what we anticipated doing today was to get approval from the Drainage Board today for this amount and the work to be incurred, and then this would go then and contingent upon approval at the RDC, which would be tomorrow. Coordinated that with Bill and Phil Garrett, who's here, to make sure that process was understood. So I think we're all, John, thanks for pointing that out. We will take that through the RDC as well.
You're correct, John. You know, a few months ago, when Jared presented this, and I believe Bill also, or Phil, everything has to come through the Drainage Board's approval, but then it goes back to redevelopment, because they're the ones that initiate the cost for it, so.
Yep. And
See if we can get a motion subject to redevelopment commission funding.
I'll make a motion, we approve change order number one as presented, subject to approval by the redevelopment commission also.
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the changes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Jared.
I got a quick question on this picture here.
yep,
What it says employee entrance on, this is gonna be the new drainage system running under. This is a bridge over.
correct. So Thomas, if I could, what you have there also, just I'll kind of explain that too while I'm talking about Nesbojani Ditch. That packet is a monthly update, so that should be the wrap-up of September. So to your point, we've got both structures, the Fillmore Road structure and the employee crossing structure, which is about approximately 500 feet south of Fillmore Road. So correct, that will be a structure that allows traffic over top of the ditch, as you pointed out. So that's rough graded, that's not completed at this point. We do have the riprap installed, but the contractor will continue to do their work in stabilization and fine-tune grading. You'll see erosion control blankets if you've been out there, similar to what you see to the north of the project. Couple other points there. C&E is ahead of schedule, so they've done a great job of maintaining their schedule and getting the structures in. They're currently coordinating with HRP, who's working on the Fillmore Road project. And we expect C&E's work to likely be completed by the end of this month for this interim phase. So pretty good shape, working with them on restoration and a couple other items. As you can see, we're about a little over a third of the way through the project in terms of costs. As you can see at the top of that page, there'd be a consideration of what's been applied for pay application to date. One other note, I think it's good news, IDEM did issue their 401 permit. That went to Army Corps. They do a 30-day neighboring jurisdiction review with EPA, which would also then go into their finalization of their environmental assessment report, which we got an update from Allison at Army Corps that that's moving forward. So all positive things on those fronts.
If I can make one comment, I would encourage anybody who has the desire to go out there and take a look at the progress that's been made. And Lawson and Fisher and through Jared and his group have done a tremendous job in keeping this board and John Law and I up to date. You know, we all see the emails, but they've done a tremendous job. John gets out there more than I do. I've been out there, but Jared's person out there, Abigail, she's done a great job, and anybody just get a hold of Abigail and go out there and she'll take you through it. The progress that's been made. Of course, the weather's been good too.
Yeah, it's pretty nice when you're doing ditch work and it's been dry, so that doesn't hurt. Thanks for the kind words, Bobby. And nothing's ever perfect, but we hope that we're keeping everybody abreast of the situation and project progress. So, and then I didn't know if you, Bob, if you wanted me to give an update on the study or where we're at there. Is that later in the agenda?
Do it now while you're there.
Okay.
So you don't have to come back up then, if you would.
Yep, so our hydraulic assessment of the ditch is in a point of review. So we're to the point where we want to sit down with Bobby and Sky as the county engineer first, just to make sure that we've addressed all of their comments. And then we'd like to include, as we talked about, some of the farmers in that review process. So we've got a meeting here, I think it's the third week of October, set with Bobby and Sky and John. So we'll do that first. And then we'll get the drainage board or some of the farmers who work that area routinely at the table, so we can kind of work through some of that and make sure that you guys, get your eyes on it and get some good commentary related to your experiences as it relates to the modeling that we've done. So that's kind of where we're at. I think we're on schedule if you look at the contract. So things are going well. Was happy with what we've been able to model and the information we've been able to get. We think there's an opportunity, ironically, to proof the model. So one of the things we'd like to propose is, I know we took some sections of the Galuski culvert, and I think there's an opportunity to lower that with the same size in place by a foot. So one of the things that we may want to do is do that and then take account of a couple rain events that may happen. That will really, anytime you can get field data like that pertinent to the model, that really helps you lock in on your assumptions. So I just make that note because we could use that to the advantage of the project to prove that out.
And any questions for Jared in regards to the study? Now, this is the study that's between the Drainage Board and the Kankakee River Basin Commission, which they're help supporting that, study.
Yeah, it studies from the Kankakee River to the railroad tracks.
It's actually, study is from the Kankakee River to the northern drainage beginning of the ditch, so the upstream component, so that is north of US 20. So that's where the Nesbejani actually starts, so it's from the very upstream reach to the discharge to Kankakee. So it will take into account the new aligned ditch and those pieces as well. So it'll give a good accurate representation of what we have to date, which will allow us then to potentially assess different projects as they come through or assess issues that future projects can be modeled against.
How far does, what's going north, how far does the Nesbejani actually go? How many acres is up above this project?
Ooh, Tom, I was not prepared on a Monday to be that level of detail. I can tell you from the very upstream reach to the discharge is just over 9 miles. In terms of the actual contributing area north of that, I don't have that memorized. So I don't know the full drainage area, but I do know it's just over a 9-mile stretch. So it does tie into the Hooten Ditch, so that also contributes to the overall drainage area of the Nesbejani north of State Road 2. And then obviously you guys know that flow can go either way when we get to County Line Ditch and we get south there at Navistar. That can interact in any number of ways dependent on the downstream conditions. So
Well, Jared, what was your comment about the Galupski culvert?
So if you recall, Mr. Bailey had pointed out that he thought that culvert could be lowered and he thought that might help. So while we were doing survey work for the study itself, we went ahead and took some sections of the upstream and downstream condition as well as the inverts of the existing pipe. We found that we can drop that pipe just by grade, about a foot. So I know that's an opportunity to lower the culvert, but I would like to do that at a point once we've established the model, and then we can drop the culvert, and then we can see if there's any increase or any change in how the ditch interacts from a backwater condition. Like how much is it storing, and if we lower that, does that improve the condition? And so that will help us, that could provide useful information as we tune the model.
Well, if it's dropping out on the downstream side, it's gonna help to lower it.
Yeah. Well, what I think it will be interesting, Randy, what would be interesting is, does that alone have significant impact, or are we still looking at a tailwater condition that gets created by the railroad? Does that actually control, or does the you know what I mean? Like, it will help us determine the impact of that in total. At least it'll be a data point. I don't think it alone will help us solve or identify the issue, but it will certainly be a data point in that conversation.
Sounds like a step in the right direction.
Correct.
And while we're on that topic, I believe there's been conversation with Sky and Mr. Bailey and obviously you and I about lowering that, and John Law. And we all agree that we're gonna get that done, but I believe we're just waiting for the crops to come down and then we'll have that lowered, you know?
Fortunately, one of our resident experts at the table there was telling me this morning that crop harvest is going well, so yep, so might have an opportunity here in the next several weeks, depending on how we can organize and what makes sense. All right.
Any other questions for Jarrett in regards to anything? Thank you for the update.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate that. Next, Wallbridge. Andy, you're up.
Sounds good.
First thing is the temporary bridge crossing. Andy.
Correct. So to provide some background on it, we are proposing 2 temporary bridge crossings. These will be clear span bridges over the Nesbejani Ditch. The intent for these is to provide clear access for construction for the IEC 3 site south of SR2 from Strawberry due to just the limited access off of SR2 that with their limited access right away. This provides the construction team some flexibility as they're building up that site to for construction traffic to have multiple avenues of access to the site. These 2 crossings would be clear span bridges connecting on both sides of the floodway. There'd be no impact to the actual floodway, the ditch banks, or the ordinary high water mark. These would be in place through a majority or all of the construction on site as the county team works on the frontage road improvements there as well. And we are going through the IDNR's process for a construction and a floodway permit. We've also applied for a floodplain permit with Randy James in the building department with the county as well. So these are not meant to be there long term, but they will be there for several years. So we are considering them permanent with the IDNR, but they should be removed sometime in the late 2020s once the interchange at SR2 and Larison and Strawberry is improved, the frontage road is in. These will be removed and not be there in any permanent capacity.
Andy, but correct me if I'm wrong here, but another reason why you need these is because you can't get in access to Gordon because of the culvert there that's at Gordon and Strawberry.
Correct. Large trailers cannot make that turn. So this is providing two set access points for trailers, large semi-trucks, and heavy equipment to successfully access the site while further improvements are being made.
And I know Lawson and Fisher is working on that frontage road.
Correct.
What, between then, once the new culvert is placed at Gordon and the frontage road is done, then these will be taken out then, Andy? Is that the understanding?
The actual timing of it probably still needs to be discussed, but yes, once the frontage road and an interchange are fully built out, there will be a clear access to the sites. The majority of construction will also be complete at that time on site. So there would be a time, we would need to establish a timeline of frontage road is in, removal of the temporary crossings. So it'd likely be in that, mid to late 2020s timeline.
So when you did apply for your permits,
Mm-hmm.
is this something that we need to contingent that they get the permits, or can we, because this is something that they definitely need.
We can get, I mean, if they don't get the permits, they can't do it anyway. We can approve our piece.
We did apply for the ditch crossing permit through the county drainage board. We do need a floodplain permit, but it would not be through you guys, is my understanding.
And I know you've had numerous conversations with John and emails flying back and forth, and
Correct.
appreciate all that. All that transparency. And any questions for Andy in regards to the temporary bridge permits?
This temporary bridge is the Nespadjani ditch from Strawberry into the construction site?
Correct.
And
So you'd be
whereabouts
taking,
is that located at? Along-
what was that?
Where will it be installed at along Strawberry Road?
It'll be about 300 feet south of the SR2 Strawberry intersection.
So just south of where the ditch curves?
Kind of where it's curling towards the west side of Strawberry. So it'll be north of where it's like running directly along it. We found the area of least impact with the floodway, about 100 feet north of where it kind of angles and runs directly along Strawberry, if that makes sense.
So it won't be directly along Strawberry, it'll be just north of that curve?
Correct.
There's a building built there on that corner, so
There's
it's
a-
between the curve and that building?
Correct. Yep, that's a staging area for the construction team in anticipation of the crossing.
And where's the frontage road going to be located at?
The
Is that-
frontage road will be located north of where these crossings would go, directly along the south side of SR2.
Okay.
Any other questions for Andy? John?
Would you, I'm sorry, I just don't remember your role in this and your name. Could you,
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
name.
Apologies. I'm Andy Deneen. I'm with Kimley Horn. I'm the civil engineer on the IEC3 project. So my team, my partners and I have been working with the developer to do the on-sites as well as the improvements off-site to allow for construction access to the site.
Not, do I hear a motion for
We're
the,
doing one at a time, this is,
Yes.
yeah. I'll make a motion for approval of this application for a temporary bridge drainage.
second?
Motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
next up, we have number 7, the easement approachment.
So the next two I know you have to approve them separately, but they do kind of go together. We filed just easement encroachment permits for the MJ Lang and the Rogers Clark ditch, with the rationale being that construction traffic is running within the 75 feet of the top bank. There is no intent to impede access to that ditch or provide any impact to the top banks of those ditches. These permits are more just there to show, hey, there will be construction traffic for access coming near the tops of, within the 75 feet from the top of the banks. So there should be no fence lines put up within that easement. There will still be unfettered access for the county to do any maintenance that's required. This is more of a, making sure that we're covering all our bases when we have construction going on here for the next couple of years.
That Lang ditch, that's over Mishawaka area, isn't it?
I think the MJ Lang,
That's parallel to Gordon Road.
parallel, yeah, it's like along Gordon Road, if I got them right. Rogers on this side, MJ Lang this side.
Well, there could be
There's
one.
a Lang ditch that comes right in there on the, I think it was, right past,
I always call it the Gordon Road ditch, but it's actually the MJ Lang.
I didn't know
It's
it was-
parallel to Gordon Road.
Yeah, so the area is basically Huckleberry Road, Gordon, and along, on the east side of Huckleberry Road and the north side of Gordon Road. But, between Huckleberry and Strawberry.
Yeah, there is a Lang ditch over there in Mishawaka.
So this application is for along the,
Thanks.
Randy, they're both for construction access.
pardon?
They're both for construction access, just to say they can encroach under 75 feet temporarily.
It's really the, Rogers Clark is the one that you brought up.
Yeah, the MJ, this is for the MJ Lang only then?
Yeah, the first one is
There's
for
two.
the Lane, the second one is for the Rogers Clark.
Okay.
Probably have to vote on them separately.
So
First
this
one
would
is
be,
for MG Lane.
for the MJ Lang, it'd be on the north side of the MJ Lang?
And MJ Lang is the one that runs along what you're calling the Gordon.
Northeast-west.
Yep, correct. It would be, well, the access would be coming off of Gordon Road. So we did put down some construction entrance riprap there and working with the county on that. So it would be on the south side for that. They then turn into the site directly west of Gordon. So the impact on the east-west ditch would be on the south side of it.
On Gordon Road then?
Yes, correct.
So you're gonna improve Gordon Road,
Well,
more or less?
down the road, they probably will, yeah.
You could consider it a temporary improvement to Gordon Road. It's gravel and some gravel to stabilize it a little bit more.
But this application that's in front of us now for the MJ Lang will be improving on the south side of the MJ Lang?
No, it's just to allow them to encroach on our easement.
It's not improving the road or anything, just approaching
Just
within
allow-
the 75 foot.
Yeah,
So if they have a truck or a tractor, or something that is, 70 feet instead of 75
they're
feet.
asking for this on the south side of the MJ Lang, which is currently the Gordon Road.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I don't understand.
I'll make a motion, we approve the easement encroachment permit.
A second.
Motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
And as Andy indicated, the second one is for the Rogers Clark, that's running north and south along Huckleberry, which you noticed, Randy.
Yes.
So, just to get a permit on file, which, Andy knows that they're encroaching a little bit, but not much, but it's best to have a permit on file.
Correct. And the intent is to allow the county to have access if there is any maintenance that needs to occur. There's no fence going up in that area or anything like that.
So, anybody has any questions in regards to the encroachment on the 75 foot of the Rogers Clark?
This again is temporary or construction related?
Construction related, correct.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion been seconded. Been seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Andy. Next up, we have number 9, 4 proposals. Do we have to vote on these separately, or? No? We can vote on all these at the same time. Mr. Law and I are asking for permission to go out proposals for the Kane Ditch, the Carful Ditch, Jetty Creek, and Nature's Gate Basin. The proposals proposals are in front of you. Do you have any questions?
This is the, so we can go out for proposals?
Yes.
For bids?
Yep,
Okay,
yep.
yeah.
We never had anything like this before, did we?
So we're starting to do it properly, more or less.
I mean, you guys always voted when they came back, right?
So these would be opened up, the bids would go out and be for our November meeting?
Yes, sir.
We'll get to that in a second here.
Oh.
We'll get to that in a second.
Oh, no, you want a special meeting.
Yeah, we do. Well,
So what do
this
you
plays
want? I
into
guess,
number 10.
okay.
This plays into 10. I'm
We're
also
we're
at,
on number 9, and what are you asking for, Mr.?
so this plays into 10. We're gonna have to have a special meeting on, October 21st. That's a Monday to open these bids, and then at the same time, Mr. Law's gonna have some more proposals that, to award these bids on the 21st, because John feels that these need to get out right away. And then on the 21st.
He says has to, but I'm pretty sure that's at your discretion.
Oh, all of a sudden you want to speak up? Just let him talk.
Go ahead, go ahead.
So then on the 21st, we'd like to award these and then go out for 4 more, I believe 4 or 5 more, and then open them on our regular meeting on November the 11th. So we need a commitment from X amount of members to be here at 8 o'clock on October 21st on the 7th floor, I believe. We've done that before in the past, you know. It's just that Mr. Law is a little late getting these out, and we're just trying to get them back sooner. Transparency-wise, you know, yes, we're doing it. I guess technically, we don't really have to, but we are.
I'll make approval for, put those out for proposal.
Motion have been made.
Second.
Motion made, stated, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. And that was also to accept this special meeting. I mean, as so stated.
What time was?
8 o'clock on Monday. We just need a majority of the members, you know. If people can't make it, but, so we need 3 members on the 21st at 8 o'clock.
I'll be here.
Thank you.
I guess we-
I'll be here. You sure you can't do 8:30?
The reason for the 8 o'clock is that Human Resources has their orientation meeting at 9, even though it probably won't take long, you know, but
5 minutes.
Will
we can make it at 8:30, you know.
can we request a friendly reminder email?
Yeah, write it down. Right there.
Well, I did.
Right there,
But I'll
okay.
put it on my phone.
I'll text you.
All right.
You wanna do
That's what
8:30?
it's
8:30?
Then I could definitely make it. I just have kid issues in the morning that I have to deal with.
8:30?
Yeah,
That's good with me, Surveyor Krasinski.
October 21st at 8:30.
Awesome, thank you.
So,
Thank you very much. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
great report, too.
Privilege of the floor.
Jeremy and Andy.
More fun than the commissioners meeting.
Not possible.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Tom, you want to address number 11?
Is this the ravine? Oh, okay.
Tom, you want to address the privilege of the floor?
I did.
Anybody have anything in regards to privilege to the floor?
Russo, you want to talk?
If not,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.